think do I have any videos specifically about money? I don't think I do. So the first thing I want to talk about with money is one, a lot of times here's what happens, especially anyone who's had difficulties with money, keeping money, saving money, making more money, whatever. Here's the thing. The answer is using the energy that's in your chart. We keep trying to recreate the wheel. We keep trying to think, well, if I borrow from this trait and borrow from this sign and that. Now, there is something to manifesting. That is definitely a tool you can use as well. But in terms of the blueprint of how you're supposed to do things, let's think about it. Let's break it down. Let me start with Virgo. If you are a Virgo or you have Virgo on the cusp of your second house, so we're talking about making money, okay? You have to organize your money. I get it. You're a Virgo, and if you have Sag in your chart or Leo in your chart and you want to spend money, even if you're a Virgo and you have Pisces, let's say you have if you're a Virgo and Pisces happens to be on the cusp of your second house or eighth house or, any Pisces moon, I don't know, whatever. You might want to spend money, right? The best way to keep your money and save your money and have more Virgo energy is organizing it. You need to know what's going in, what's coming out. A lot of you think because of the apps make it super easy. Back when I was a teenager and in college, we did have apps, but you couldn't transfer money as quick as you can now. Like you could go Cash App. We didn't have that when I was in college. So everything's quick nowadays. And actually, I don't think it's best for a Virgo who struggles with money management because you have to organize it. And unless you have a tight system, this comes in this date, this goes out this date, this money goes here, cash envelopes, things like that is probably really good for Virgo energy. Like organize your money. Make sure you know where it's going. Make sure you have to have a budget. You have to. You just can't, because if you have, let's say if you're Virgo, if anyone has Virgo on the cusp of the second house, it means you have Pisces on the cusp of the eighth house of debt. That means you can struggle with debt if you don't get it together. So you do have to organize your money. You can get money, you can make the money, but you have to make sure that you are keeping track of every little cent, everything, so you don't have surprise bills or things like that. Virgo, it's already in your nature, but some of you aren't doing it. You have to organize every penny. That's how you're going to save. That's how you're going to see where things are really going. Because you're going to be able to analyze it quickly and be like, oh, I don't need to pay for that. I could just do this. But you won't know if you just have money coming at your accounts, all of those automatic payments, but you're not taking track of where it is. Get a planner, get a money organizer, use a spreadsheet. Okay. All right. Aries. If you have Aries on the cusp, or you have Aries, if you're an Aries person, money. If you're struggling with money, it is going to sometimes be because you are not striking when the iron is hot. Aries energy does tend to sometimes not be as diligent with saving or finance or things like that. But the thing is sometimes with Aries is that Aries thinks there's always going to be more time. There's always going to be more time. There's always going to be another opportunity. Oh, I don't need to do that. I'm doing this right now. Like sometimes Aries, you have to strike when the iron is hot. Someone told you there's an investment, it seems lucrative, you got to do it. Someone said there's a job opening, but Aries is like, well, but I planned a trip and I want to go on the trip. But your friend's like, but there's this job, like this is perfect for you. I want you to interview for it. Here's the timeline. So Aries, sometimes you can get so caught up in the things you want to do that you don't realize you'll have time to do those things you want to do when you take care of business. And you have to learn to be more timely with the opportunities that come your way. If a sale is happening today, do it today, because tomorrow it may not be there, right? Because you're so focused on other things. A lot of times Aries is not worried about the nuts and bolts of money and saving and finance. That does not mean you cannot be successful. There are plenty of successful Aries people. And guess what? There's plenty of successful people who struggle with money management. How do big businesses, how do billionaires, how do millionaires go broke, right? It stops, right? Like it's plenty of people who struggle with money management. And with Aries, it's sometimes you're not capitalizing on the energy you naturally possess. You're not prioritizing that. So you're saying, well, wait a minute. I'm just going to focus on this right now because this opportunity will always be here because I'm worried about this. Aries, you need to learn to use your ability to naturally take initiative And when something is a smart decision for you, if it's the direction you're headed in, you got to start aligning with the things that you're, the direction that you're headed in. Not just going through different directions, but knowing like, this is really what I want. This opportunity is coming up now. Let me do it now. Let me not worry about all these other things I want to do, because if I'm trying to save money, I need to start thinking a little bit smarter. And I start using that Aries energy and that courage to, Aries sometimes struggles to stay the course, you know? Or you start off saving. You start off, you had a really good plan, but you struggle. You struggle to stay the course sometimes. Taurus, if you're a Taurus and you're struggling with money, you spend it too much on the things that you value. And I get it. You're like, we all have our things that we're willing to spend money on, right? Some people might say like, oh, they love sneakers. You love buying sneakers, but you're not buying 10 sneakers a month. Unless you have it like that, right? So Taurus that's struggling with money, it's you're spending too much of it. But you might say, well, wait, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm not doing this, and that. I haven't gone on a vacation this year, but you're spending too much money on the things that you value, and you're not allowing yourself to stock up and have resources. Taurus does best when it saves and then buys what it wants. Save, then buy what you want. When you get into a habit of investing in things that you appreciate and that you value, and there's a lot of times Taurus will have an excuse for it. Taurus will be like, but I'm not getting this or that. I'm not buying jewelry. I'm just buying this. People struggle to sometimes make decisions when they need to be made. If something is no longer serving you, it is sometimes hard for you. You know, your accountant hasn't been right with your money in a while, but it's a family friend. You know, you've been banking at the same bank since you were 16, but they keep doing shady things and shutting off your card, and they have they're all in the news. You have to shake things up sometimes, Taurus. You have to be willing to say, I want to keep my money. Taurus, y'all keep. I got to make a decision, and I'm not going to just stay with what I'm comfortable doing. Gemini, you have so many ideas, but sometimes it is hard for you to make the money that you can make because you want to do almost everything. Gemini, you want to get involved in every single thing possible, but sometimes it's like you're not always building onto the things that you could be doing. I think Gemini does best with money when there is something that is ideas that they continue to do, ideas that they continue to come up with. You do really well with new information. You do really well with involving yourself in something where you can learn something new. But with Gemini, with money, sometimes the money situation can be you spend a lot on things and then forget about them later. You might buy some things and forget you bought them. You might, spend money and then be like, oh yeah, I have some clothes in my closet. I haven't ever worn them, right? So Gemini has to worry about that impulsivity in terms of money and new ideas with money. So that's the difference. Sagittarius can be impulsive as well, but Sagittarius might spend more money on trips and bigger things, experiences. Gemini, when you get money, sometimes you can be really susceptible to commercials. You can be really susceptible to what you see online, because Gemini is the information powerhouse, and you see all these things and it's stimulating your mind. So Gemini has to be conscious of not, buying multiple things you really don't need, and then turning around and saying, I don't know how that happened. I need more money. I don't know what to do, right? Gemini has to be careful with that. Now, you do have some Geminis that are good with their money. I'm talking about if you are a Gemini, you're not good with your money. Might be why. Cancer. If a Cancer person is not good with their money, it is because they are doing too much for other people. You are likely doing too much for people. You are not putting responsibility on somebody. Like, you are paying too much. You're spending all your money on other people. Every time someone's birthday in the family comes up, you are just going over the top to buy them presents. Oh, well, I gotta buy them, my niece and nephews, presents because their parents don't really have money. You're doing a lot for other people. So Cancers who struggle with money, it is typically, you're not investing your money in yourself and in your home like you're supposed to. You are trying to take care of others who have latched onto your kind heart and your ability to help out. And you're usually funding the lifestyle of someone else. It's similar to Capricorn, different though. Leo, if you have money issues, you are overspending. We already know. Leo, you like nice things. You like what is trendy. You like what's in. You know what's in. I don't know what's in. I have 2 Leo placements. I'm a Virgo. I don't know what the trends are in fashion, but Leo might know. I don't know. But you gotta sometimes, Leos who struggle, or you try to be generous to everybody. You want to give to everybody. And a lot of times, Leo, When you have it like that, you have it like that. But if you don't form real connections with people, they typically, when you don't have it, they're not going to have your back. So with Leo, sometimes it is this generous spirit. It's, oh, let's go out. I'll pay for everything, y'all. Because when you're good, you're good. But when you're down, sometimes, Leo, I think you can run into situations where people aren't really there for you like you were for them, because people think you're the life of the party. People think you're confident and you're fun, and maybe you might be, but because a lot of times you engage with people through fun experiences and through parties or through money or through entertainment, you're not always building that strong connection you need to. And so sometimes when you're down, you need to borrow some money. There's nobody there. So it is important, Leo, just to like make sure like you have a support system too. If you're being generous to other people, just make sure that they are, they appreciate it, because a lot of times you're spending too much on the fun. You're spending too much on entertainment. You got to learn how to have some entertainment at home too, maybe. Libra is struggling with money. You don't know how to make decisions. And you might have your eggs in more than one basket, which is great. But at the same time, sometimes you do not know how to make decisions that are in your best interest. So you teeter between two things. You might say, I have two jobs. But really, you'd make more money if you had the one job that was full-time instead of trying to do two things. You might be someone who's like, well, I'm trying to make money by doing this and doing that. You're splitting yourself too thin. So a lot of times, Libra, you're actually spreading yourself too thin, and you're actually not able to keep money the way that you think you would. You actually turn around, and you're like, wait, there's other ways to do this. Libra does best when you have something that allows for you to have a certain level of peace of mind. Like I said, decision making. Like if you get through a bad spout with money, you still want to kind of keep up the same lifestyle you had. And sometimes it's like you have to dial that back and say, wait a minute, let me forego this. Let me get in charge of this first. Let me look at this first. But a lot of times you don't want to give up what you like. You don't want to give up the things that really give you a sense of peace and ease. That's that Venus nature. You don't like to give up the things that you like. And so if Libra isn't making money, it sometimes can be because Libra, again, I know some hardworking Libras, but Libras will buy Venus. Sometimes Libra, you don't want to do more. Libra is balanced, and Libra might say, you know what, I'm out. Oh, overtime, it is 4 p.m. I'm done. I want to go home and relax. I want to go home and have fun. I want to go home to my partner, whatever. If a Libra is having money issues, I'm saying if, because this video is about those who do, it might be sometimes that you're not doing enough. You like things calm. You don't like pressure. You prefer things at a good equilibrium. You prefer things that don't give you stress, that you just don't like the conflict of things. But sometimes it's like if you have a goal, you might have to take on extra hours or extra work or do a gig job for a summer or something like that. So Libra, sometimes it's like in your efforts to balance yourself, sometimes you lock yourself out of opportunities because you like things where they are. You like your sense of peace. You like your sense of calm. You don't want to take on anything extra. You're like, that's too much. Now, you do have the Libras who sometimes take on too much because they don't want to disappoint people. But if you're a Libra that's struggling with money, sometimes it is because you keep trying to stretch the same money. You keep trying to say, well, but it's not adding up. It's not adding up. You might have to do a little more. You might have to move up. You might have to, take on something temporarily. I'm not saying everybody has to have a second job, but I'm saying with Libra, it does become important sometimes for you to take yourself out of your sense of like calm and balanced. And I have my schedule, and this is my schedule, and this is that, and I get to go home and I get to do this, and I'm right. You're balancing your sense of peace and calm. And sometimes you just gotta do a little bit of extra if you want more money. You just gotta take on the overtime, or sign up to teach in the summer, or sign up to do this, or teach a class. I don't know. Now, I would say with Scorpio, it's kind of rare, not impossible to find a Scorpio who's not good with money. But I would say if a Scorpio is struggling with money, typically it's because they've made bad investments. You are making bad investments. You are not aligning with the right people who can, maybe you're a business owner. You don't have the right people on your side that could be giving you the financial profits that you want. You're a marketer, or you're a company. You're not advertising to the right audience. If you are a Scorpio, maybe it's like you have a partner and they're siphoning the money out of you, right? They love that you're successful. They love that you have control over your finances, but they're not a good match for you. Sometimes it's like you're not, because Scorpio is energy that can attract and draw. Again, if you're talking about eighth house, let's say Scorpio in the eighth house, Jupiter and Scorpio eighth house, your spouse should have money. Now, your spouse, like, you get more help. Venus, Scorpio, eighth house, you get more help through partnership, through money. And partnership doesn't have to mean just romantic. It can mean you are a good business owner. People like investing in your whatever you have to offer. So if you are struggling financially, a lot of times with Scorpio is you're investing in the wrong people, the wrong ideas, the wrong situations. You are attaching yourself to the wrong things. Maybe you're not in the right field. And you could be making way more if you were in the field where you actually feel that you have the most influence, where you feel that you have the most sense of being able to control situations. I don't mean control in a bad way, but it could be your occupation. Like, it's not about controlling people, but sometimes people who are in management, people who are in positions where people have to report to you. You make decisions. You're a decision maker. You are someone who has some level of influence in the place. Like, if you're struggling with money and you're a Scorpio, it's typically you're connecting to the wrong people. There's some things you're doing, or you're doing something shady. You're doing something shifty that is not working out in your favor. Okay, Sagittarius. This is self-explanatory. Sagittarius struggling with money. You're spending too much. Sagittarius, of the two signs, I would say Sagittarius and Pisces, of the two signs, of the 12 signs, Sagittarius and Pisces, as a rule, I'm not talking about each individual person in the world, Sagittarius can be linked to abundance. So that's the good thing about Sag. A lot of times Sag spends a lot, but some of them Sages get lucky. They get lucky, right? If you're lucky, you're ruled by Jupiter. Pisces, I think, is the worst with money because it doesn't find the same value in it energetically. I'm not saying that each individual Pisces person doesn't. But with Sagittarius, it's sometimes you're spending too much on things. You're spending too much on experiences. You think everything you have to offer, everything that you want to experience has to be big and grandiose. You don't gotta necessarily go overseas every summer. You could find some place in your country that you can travel to that you've never been before. You don't have to take a plane. You could take a train. You don't have, right? Sometimes you think so big, and when it comes to money, Sagittarius thinks big as well. And there is this kind of generosity spirit that you also sometimes see through Leo as well. But with Sagittarius, it's a generosity of like, I have, so I want to give. So a lot of times y'all have money, but you give it away, or you have money, but you spend it on things and experiences, but sometimes you end up not having enough in the end. So it's always about the Sag. It doesn't mean you can't be generous, but if you have a pie and you have 8 slices, you probably shouldn't give out 9. Yes. You get what I'm saying? 8 and 9 doesn't make sense, right? You're giving out more than you have. Okay. Capricorn. Again, like Scorpio, it's kind of rare to find a Capricorn who is not good with money. However, if you find a Capricorn who is not good with money, what they have done is Capricorn has decided to not fully follow through with their plan. Capricorn sometimes needs to feel a sense of direction, but Capricorn doesn't know when their plan doesn't make sense. So it's what I mean. Capricorn systems and structures, and this is how it is, and this is how it's always been. And whether you are a matriarch of the family or patriarch of the family, the Capricorn takes care of people. It knows how to take care of people. And not in the same way Cancer, they're opposite signs, but Capricorn knows how to maneuver things. And I'm gonna pay for your tuition, I'm gonna pay for this. We have a house, we have this, we have a trust fund. You're gonna do this, you're gonna do that, right? Capricorn knows how to do those things, but sometimes Capricorn, you can lose money if you don't know when to stop and pivot and make a new direction in what you want. Because you could be invested in something, you're like, no, I believe in it. It has to work. It has to work. When really it's not working. And I did a video for TikTok and I talked about Virgo and Capricorn. And one of the things I said is that sometimes Capricorn has to stop and realize when something has to be improved. Because a lot of times Capricorn is so loyal to their system. And sometimes their system really works. But sometimes Capricorn will keep doing things the way it's been done because they feel like that's what's gotten them success. Why would I change it? But Capricorn has to sometimes awaken and understand there does sometimes need to be change to things. So you don't want to be the type of Capricorn person. You invest in stocks or something and the writing's on the wall, right? And you just keep doing it. You keep money. As a Capricorn that keeps gambling, the writing's on the wall. Look at your savings account, right? The writing's on the wall. Things are changing. Capricorn has to be aware of change and be comfortable. Sometimes things are going to shift and change, and you got to learn how to change with it. And with money, you got to follow the money. And sometimes you're following your plan and you're like, but wait, but this is how I've been doing it for 15 years. Well, they've changed it now. You have to conduct business in a different way. You got to go with that. Aquarius sometimes doesn't like following the rules. Aquarius does sometimes, some of them like to live, you know, I wouldn't say on the edge, but just live life on the accordance of just, I'm gonna do things my way because they can work. And sometimes doing things your way does work, but sometimes it does not. So Aquariuses who have struggled with money, it's because sometimes you struggle to fit in with what the rules are. You can't break every rule. You just, right? And sometimes Aquarius thinks they're the exception to the rule. It's like, well, yeah, you do it this way, I'm gonna do it this way. I'm not saying that's a bad thing to do all the time because that's how innovation happens. But if an Aquarius is bad with money, it is because they somehow do not think they have to follow the same rules as everyone else. There sometimes can be, well, I'm going to invest in this, or I'm going to do this, or I'm going to put this here and then do that. And it's this really very like complex plan, and it could, if it's not working, it's not working. And Aquarius sometimes does have to humble itself. If something's not working, Aquarius, it's not working, and you're smart enough to figure out. And you have to sometimes go away from that rogue stuff and say, you know what, let me ask my friend how they're doing it. My friend's pretty successful at this, what are they doing? You know, or I know my uncle's good at this, let me ask him how he was able to do this, right? You have to sometimes humble yourself and know you don't have all the answers, and allow yourself to kind of conform sometimes or follow the rules the way it is, instead of thinking everything can be mutated and changed, and right? Because there's just a formula for things, and that's the society we live in. There's a formula for money. It's a formula for how you make your money. There are rules to business and money and finance and banking and, you know, income. There's rules to it. If you are a Pisces who struggles with keeping or making money, you sometimes like throw yourself into things that aren't realistic. You may throw yourself into things that sound like a good idea. You would benefit from investigating a little bit more, because it's not wrong to believe in yourself. You do have to believe in yourself. I think it'd be great to believe in yourself. But I think sometimes with Pisces is you are envisioning things, but you don't envision them all the way through. You envision the thing that you want. And you have to just sometimes work through, like, how am I going to get to the things that I want? And the thing Pisces is this: when you get to what you want, how are you going to sustain it? There are plenty of people who have Pisces placements who have been successful and they've kept their money, but you have to look and see how they did it. How did they keep their money? They had a vision for what was going to happen after they got their dream and got what they want. Look at Rihanna. She's a Pisces. She made a lot of money and she said, well, how am I going to keep this money going? Right? And she had a vision for what that looked like in terms of building herself up. That does not mean every Pisces person has to own a business, but I'm saying a lot of times Pisces, all you see is that thing you want, and you don't envision yourself otherwise. And so what happens sometimes is once you get to a certain step, you forget to understand the things that are going to keep you there and sustain you. You don't want to, you know, you could start like someone who does get fame. Oh, wow, like I'm noticed finally. And you forget to pay attention to that paperwork. Pay attention to the things that are going to help you stay where you want to be. Pay attention to the things that are going to help you understand better how to manage your money, how to finance your life, how to give yourself the life that you want, and how to keep it that way. So a lot of times and you can be really giving to people. You can be really compassionate. Oh, my niece needs to go to college. Let me just give her this. But a lot of times y'all don't see past the thing you get. And that is very important. See past what you get. You get that paycheck, see past, oh, I want to buy this, this, and that. When you get that check, when you get a big check or whatever, see past, I want to buy a new car, I want to buy my mama a car, I want to do this, I want to do that. See past that and understand, like, okay, I want this. What is it going to take to keep that?